All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, welcome to the Dynamics GP 2013 licensing session today with Lisa and Jeff Smith. They will be our hosts today. Lisa is the account manager for Central Ohio Territory, and Jeff is a solutions architect for our existing client base. So if you have questions during the webinar, please feel free to type those into the question and answer log, and then we'll have Lisa and Jeff answer questions throughout the webinar. Usually when we try to take phone calls, they get a little staticky or we can't hear people, so if you wouldn't mind submitting those questions through the chat session here, that would be wonderful. If you have any other questions, feel free to submit those as well to me, and I'll be answering them throughout the broadcast. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Lisa and Jeff.
Thank you, Don. This is Jeff Smith, and I'm going to kick off the presentation to discuss Dynamics GP 2013 licensing. As you may or may not know, when 2013 was released, Microsoft made some significant changes to the licensing, and for many of you it can play significant benefits, and we want to make sure that you're aware of what those changes are and what the process is. So our agenda is simply to explain the new Dynamics GP 2013 perpetual licensing model, define how you can transition to this new model, and then, as Don had mentioned earlier, just to answer any questions that you may have in that regard. This is really pertinent for anyone that is not on GP 2013 at this point. It really applies to anyone that's on GP 2010 or prior. So before we start, in a typical technology fashion, I want to get you familiar with some acronyms that you're going to need to know, because you're going to see it on our slides, and it's just part of what we go through here. So first of all, I want you to remember a very important acronym, PLP. That stands for Protected List Price. So many of you may actually find that when you move to GP 2013, you're receiving a fairly significant amount of additional software, but your protected list price will stay the same, your list price for your software. And you may wonder, why is that significant? It's really significant when it comes to your maintenance and support plans that you have with Microsoft that we work with you on. So the real positive in this is that you could walk away with the same list price, so your annual maintenance renewal is the same, but you'll actually own additional software. So keep that in mind. The next thing is MBL, which is module-based licensing. Just to help you understand that, many of you have had GP for a number of years, and originally GP was sold in a module-based method. So in other words, when you were looking at GP, you were looking for what modules you needed for functionality, such as general ledger, payables, inventory, etc. And you were actually then, you purchased software based on a module price and then the number of users. So that's what when we're referring to module-based licensing, that's what we're talking about. And so some of you actually on this call may still be working in a module-based licensing model. The next acronym is BRL, Business Ready Licensing. So once Microsoft proceeded and moved on from the module-based licensing model, they moved to Business Ready Licensing. Business Ready Licensing was built on the premise of 3 different bundles of software. Number 1 was called Business Essentials, which you'll see later in the list, which is BE. Another one called AM for Advanced Management. And then lastly, there were ad hoc modules that were available as well. So BE was the smaller bundle of software that included a variety of modules, anywhere from general ledger to inventory to sales order processing, etc. Advanced Management allowed you to go even further into things like field service, project accounting, manufacturing, etc. So if you see AM, it's Advanced Management, and it falls under Business Ready Licensing. And BE, Business Essentials, which is the smaller bundle under Business Ready Licensing. Many of you may have actually migrated from MBL to BRL during the years over the past, because Microsoft actually had an opportunity for users for a standard fee to be able to move across to this new licensing model. Okay. The last two, and these are really things that Lisa is going to talk to you about as we go into the presentation, is LMT and LCT. So depending on how you're licensed and how long you've used your software, you're going to be progressing through the process with one of these two ways. So license migration transition or license credit transition. And I'm not going to explain a lot more about that. I'll let Lisa do that as we get further into the process. All right, so I guess the first thing that I wanted to talk about is GP is now broken down into, in GP 2013 specifically, is broken down into what we call packs. So when you purchase GP, if you're brand new today and you were buying GP, you would buy it with this perpetual licensing, which includes a starter pack. The starter pack you see listed here is the financial management modules that are included. So you can see it's everything from general ledger to fixed assets to intercompany to national accounts, encumbrance, grants. There's a variety of different financial tools that are built into that bundle. And what you're going to see as we go through this, there's actually 50-plus modules that are built into what's called the starter pack. And so we'll talk about that throughout this presentation. But many of you are probably using a variety of these modules already. Some of these modules will translate from what you bought either through your MBL process or your BRL process. So the starter pack, and we'll talk about this more, when you transition to GP 2013, no matter what model you're on today, you will own the starter pack. Okay, so you can see these are the financial modules. The next slide is the business intelligence and HR human resource management modules that are available in the starter pack. What is significant here, and we'll talk about this more as we go along, is payroll and HR are now included in the base starter pack. Many of you may outsource your payroll, but now you will actually own payroll and HR inside of Dynamics GP when you move to GP 2013. On the business intelligence side, you're going to notice that there is management reporter users, both on the designer and the viewer side. So any of you that are using management reporter, you know what I'm talking about. If any of you are still on FRX, Management Reporter is the replacement tool for FRX and is the supported tool of choice at this point, as FRX is no longer supported by Microsoft. And lastly, included in the BI side of the starter pack is a tool called the Analysis Cubes. And there's an Analysis Cubes library and an Advanced Analysis Cubes library. The library includes different module groups. So the regular Analysis Cube library includes payables, receivables, and general ledger. The advanced includes sales, order processing, purchase order processing, and inventory. And actually, analytical accounting is now included in the Analysis Cubes as well. So keep this in mind. You'll notice that there are one other significance under the HR slide is the self-service suite, which is included in the business portal. And then lastly, there are three other categories of modules that are included under the starter pack. The configuration and development pack, a part of the starter pack, includes the modifier with Visual Basic for applications, and also the customization site license, as well as the integration manager for conversions. And I want to make a distinction between this and the integration manager for financials and distribution. which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But this is more meant for new users to convert their data at the point that they're making that transition. All right. Under the supply chain, we have invoicing, sales order processing, also order management, which is a business portal tool, inventory, bill of materials that goes along with inventory, purchase order processing, landed cost, the purchase order generator, requisition manager, and time and expense. So those all fall under the supply chain category and in the starter pack. And then lastly, the workspace collaboration is the business portal. Many of you may use the business portal today. The business portal is a SharePoint-based tool, browser-based tool that allows you to do a variety of things, including do inquiries on your Dynamics GP data, as well as it has workflow functionality, and that's why when we're talking about order management, requisition manager, and time and expense, those are all workflow functions that are built into the business portal. So when you make this transition, many of these things that were either ad hoc or in a more advanced licensing model before are now included in the base package that everyone gets with Dynamics GP 2013. All right. So the starter pack, no matter where you are and who you are, you'll have that. There is a second pack that is available, and many of you will transition to this based upon your licensing. The extended pack includes the Forecaster, which is a budgeting and forecasting tool that's available to work with Dynamics GP. Also under supply chain, under the extended pack, is what's called advanced distribution. For any of you that use inventory and sales orders, advanced distribution is a tool that allows you to do fulfillment orders inside of sales order processing. So you can actually track where an order is in its process within Dynamics GP using advanced distribution. Advanced picking, which is a tool that's meant to streamline your warehouse picking process and is a part of Dynamics GP. Available to Promise, which is a tool that works with the sales order module so that salespeople, while they're entering an order, can be able to tell their customers whether if an item is not in stock, when it can be available based upon outstanding orders, purchase orders, in-transit transactions, etc. And then lastly, also in the extended pack, under the manufacturing solutions, is what's called the manufacturing bill of materials, manufacturing order processing, the production scheduling module, the MRP or materials requirements planning module, capacity requirements, and everything that you see on this window from capacity requirements down through sales forecasting are all a part of what used to be called the manufacturing suite. But they're now included in the extended pack inside of Dynamics GP. And then lastly, under the extended pack is project accounting, which is a very popular module. And also then the field service series of modules, which includes contract administration, service call management, depot management, and preventive maintenance. So for any of the organizations that are out there that have a service team that maybe installs and services products in the field and has service technicians or consultants to do that, these modules can be very useful in regards to administering the work with your individual clients. And then lastly, so what we've talked about so far is the starter pack, which includes over 50 modules, the extended pack, which is probably in excess of 20 modules or more, and then lastly, there are 2 additional packs that are available for for you. Some of you will migrate to these packs automatically based upon what you have today. But you also will have the opportunity to purchase these packs if you don't have them but need this functionality. So there's first what's called the customization pack. The customization pack includes tools like eConnect, web services, Visual Studio's software development kit, Dexterity, which is the development tool for which Dynamics was created, and then lastly, a tool that many of you probably have today is the Integration Manager, both for financials and distribution. This is the tool that allows you to import data into Dynamics GP from outside sources. So that all falls under the customization pack. Lisa will talk about whether this is something that you'll automatically receive as part of your transition, and if not, what it takes to get this. Next is the extended HR and payroll pack. So you know we talked about a variety of modules, including payroll, human resources, direct deposit, etc. There is also a package in here that's called the Extended Human Resource and Payroll Pack, which goes beyond and adds functionality. So there's the Benefit Self-Service Suite. That actually allows individuals via the business portal to go through their open enrollment process, and it integrates directly in the Human Resources module. Human Resources Advanced, which allows you to track licenses and training and certifications for your employees. Payroll Advanced, which allows you to do things like labor accruals, and also has an integration to bring in unit accounts into your general ledger. And then lastly, what's called PTO Manager. So the PTO Manager allows you to enhance the way that GP payroll handles paid time off moving forward. So again, just to go back, we have the starter pack, which everyone gets, the extended pack, which many of you will get when you move to Dynamics GP 2013, and then lastly, the additional packs, which include the customization pack and the extended human resource and payroll pack. I invite you to ask questions or reach out to us individually after this session if you have questions on any of these individual modules that are included in this bundle. So, with the good news comes the bad news, and it's really not all bad. There were several modules that you may own today that have been discontinued, and I'm going to clarify that a little bit by saying they're not really discontinued. They're just the ownership of these modules is being transferred elsewhere. So I have 3 modules on this window that you may or may not be aware of, or may not own, and one of them is Concur Expenses. There's an integrator module that actually allows you to integrate GP to Concur, which is probably the #1 company for expense reimbursement or expense management tools in the United States. So it used to be available as an a la carte module on the MBL, both professional and standard. And again, just as a last reminder, that's module-based licensing. And BRL, both under Business Essentials and Advanced Management. It was discontinued by Microsoft, but new or existing customers who wish to add the Concur Expense solution can download it at no charge on Customer Source. Okay, secondly, there was a module, 2 modules that were included under a grouping called Risk Management, and these are no longer available to purchase from Microsoft. The Audit Trails module and Electronic Signatures were available as a la carte modules with the BRL licensing. They are no longer available from Microsoft, but now are available from the original producer of these tools called Merit Solutions. And they'll continue to support and develop this product moving forward. So to get some idea what the Audit Trails module does is Audit Trails allows you to track changes within Dynamics GP. So as an example, you can define certain fields and certain screens that you want to be able to monitor whether changes are made. So as an example, we had a client who actually tracked changes to customers, the customer maintenance window, because they kept running into situations where the payment terms were being changed on a customer and they weren't sure why. And they actually were able to narrow it down to one employee who changed it, not out of anything malicious, but out of kind of ignorance. And so they, it really does a nice job of being able to track the changes that were made with a user ID and a timestamp involved, and it reports it very nicely. So that's an example of the risk management suite. The next one is what's called the extender, and this is also no longer offered by Microsoft. This originally was developed by a company called E1 Solutions, and has actually the ownership and the development of that has been passed back to E1. So they'll continue to support and sell the extender module, and you can purchase this through Socius, but it'll come from E1 and maintained by E1. This module allows you to add additional fields and screens to Dynamics GP, and then actually include those fields and screens in your reporting. We've seen a variety of different things that people have done there, collecting additional information about customers or vendors or projects that are important to them. Okay, and then there's two more modules, and this next one is probably the biggest one. The SmartList Builder module, again, was originally developed by E1 Solutions, has been sold by Microsoft as a GP module for a number of years. And I would bet that every single one of you on the phone uses SmartList today, and E1 had developed the SmartList Builder to allow you to customize and develop your own SmartList using that tool. And so now that actually will be back in the ownership of E1 and will be supported and sold by E1. And then lastly, of discontinued modules, the collections management module. This is no longer available to purchase from Microsoft. Collections management in the BRL licensing model was an a la carte module. And now Professional Advantage, which is a longtime Dynamics GP developer, will take that product back and continue to support and sell it. There are, okay, go ahead.
Just in case anyone has any of those modules related to your maintenance fees on those are going to be transitioned over to those third-party solutions, those ISVs. So what will happen is the dollar amount that was initially on your Microsoft renewal, that will be subtracted out if you owned any of those modules, and then you'll get a new renewal that will say it's from E1 or it's from Professional Advantage that has those new modules on it. So your renewals may look a little bit differently in the next year if you had any of those modules, so just something to look out for.
Thanks, Lisa. And there are some other changes, and many of these are actually good or can be good for you, depending on your point of view. The payroll and human resources additions to the starter pack are a big deal because many people may outsource but have been interested potentially in handling their own payroll in-house. You now will own those modules. You will not be forced to use them, but you'll actually own the payroll, direct deposit, magnetic media, HR, position control, and the self-service modules. So those actually are now a part of the starter pack, as we talked about. So where it was an a la carte and an optional buy before, it now is included. So that's a big deal. There are a number of new modules that are included in the starter pack. So no matter which version of GP you are on, you potentially have functionality you didn't have before. So I just mentioned a couple of those here. The customer and vendor consolidation module grant management, lockbox processing, refund checks, and revenue and expense deferrals are now all included in the starter pack. So even if you're a small implementation of GP and you're on Business Essentials, you'll get additional software beyond what you own today. Also, some limitations were actually removed. So many of you, I'm sure, who have Management Reporter as an example, or Business Portal, you had a certain number of user licenses. With the release of GP 2013, there now is an unlimited number for everyone for both Management Reporter and Business Portal. So you don't have to worry about who's in, what named users have access, etc., because basically anyone can have access to those modules as you see fit. And then the other one is if you are a payroll or an HR owner, then it used to be that the software, these modules were purchased in certain user counts. So, I mean, employee counts. So you could buy payroll from 1 to 100 employees or 100 to 250 employees, and the price changed based upon the number of employees. And now, basically, you have unlimited access to add employees to your system. That is really good for companies that are growing and adding employees, and maybe in the past would have been pushing up against a boundary, and now you don't have to worry about that. All right.
Well, before we move on, Don, we'll check really quickly. Are there any questions so far?
Yeah, I have one question here. Is Business Portal sorry, able to be installed with SharePoint 2013 yet? Last I checked, it wasn't compatible.
You know, that's probably one we're going to have to table because I'm not positive on that. I do know that Business Portal will work with both SharePoint Foundation and SharePoint Enterprise, but I'm not sure where it stands in regards to SharePoint 2013. So please let us look into that, and we'll make sure we get an answer for you.
Any others, Don, or is that the
Yep, one more just came in.
Okay.
One slide indicated Forecaster was unlimited. Is this referring to unlimited users with Forecaster?
Yes.
Yes. So before you had to purchase users with Forecaster?
And they were like $500 a piece.
So now they will be unlimited when you go to GP 2013.
Now the thing to keep in mind is that's included in the extended pack. So if the extended pack is included in your licensing, then you will have unlimited Forecaster users. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and let her tell you how you make this transition.
Thanks, Jeff. Just to kind of reiterate a little bit as far as where everybody on the call probably stands with their GP software right now, the prior licensing models that we mentioned before, and here are those acronyms again. MBL, which is the module-based licensing, could have been either standard, which had a limit, I think, of 10 users, or professional. And then the other two are business-ready licensing, Business Essentials, or advanced management. So that's probably where most of the people on the phone currently stand. So going to GP 2013 on the perpetual licensing model, there are 4 packs that are included, which Jeff kind of went through each of those and was showing you all of the modules that are included in them. So just the starter pack is the pack that everyone will receive. That includes all of the financial pieces. So if you had your user count with either a 1 or a 2 user for your GP, you are going to receive actually 3 because the starter pack includes 3 users in that package. So that's a good thing, I guess. Your protected list price won't go up, but instead of 1 user, you're going to have 3. The other pack is the extended pack, which Jeff mentioned, the customization pack, and then the extended human resources and payroll pack. So we're going to show another picture here real quick just to show you how all these work together. and also show you some differences on the users. So again, here are all the packs that are out there. There's going to be full users and limited users now. So anybody who currently has a full user on GP will still receive a full user access on GP 2013. The big change is some people may have had what were called light users on their current GP system, and those are going to transition over to what we call limited user. And I'm going to go through a little bit more detail as far as what the differences are between those two. So on the next slide, with a full user, you get full read and full write access to the system. A limited user, you get full read, but you get limited write, and that limited write is based on if you need to enter time and expense type pieces. So again, currently anybody on a light user will get a limited user. The big thing about that is before they were named users, and now those users are going to be concurrent users. So that may assist people as well when you need to purchase users. They're going to be concurrent and don't have to be named. So that's a big advantage. The next slide here, we're going to go through a little bit as far as if existing customers, if you are on the old licensing models, whether that was module-based licensing or the business ready, you can still add users and add modules to those systems currently until you decide to upgrade to GP 2013. And there hasn't been a date set that we've seen yet that they're forcing anybody to make that transition to perpetual licensing. There are two models that you can go to as far as getting to GP 2013, and I'll discuss that on the next slide. New customers, the only thing they can purchase today is GP 2013. So there was a time limit on that, which is on this slide. So as of December 1st of 2013, that's the only piece that is available, is to go to GP 2013 for a new customer. Okay, this is kind of the meat of my part of the presentation. There are two different transition paths, and that is based on the date that you purchased your GP software. So there are going to be two different ones. One is an LMT, which is a license migration transition, and that's going to be anybody who purchased their GP prior to 10/1 of 2012. The other piece that we'll go through is the license credit transition, and that'll be for anybody who purchased after 10/1 of 2012. So if you're not sure when your initial purchase date is, you can just get with your account manager, and we can help you as far as determining that, so you know which path that you're going to be going down. Those who did purchase before 10/1 of 2012 for the LMT upgrade, you will automatically be mapped to the same functionality that you currently have on your GP. So you'll get the same number of users, unless of course you only have one or two, you'll get three. But as far as your modules and everything, you will map to the same functionality as long as that functionality still exists in GP 2013. And you get that at no cost. So the software piece is at no cost. You do need to probably get in touch with Socius as far as the actual upgrade to 2013 for the services side, but the software piece is at no cost. And then, like Jeff had said before, your protected list price stays the same, and then your renewal date would stay the same as well. And then anybody, we'll go to the second one, for the license credit transition, anyone who purchased after 10/1, what happens is you're going to receive credit for your current protected list price for that dollar amount, and then that amount gets applied as if you're purchasing brand new to go to GP 2013. As far as your maintenance on that side, your maintenance will be prorated, and that can apply to new maintenance, but you do have to purchase one year of maintenance at the time that you do place that order for your GP 2013. Okay. So the next slide, just a few things to go over as far as some general rules when you are transitioning. You must be current on a maintenance plan so that you can transition to GP 2013. And you don't actually get to choose which upgrade type you go to, whether it's all dependent upon that date, whether it was before or after 10/1 of 2012. And then as far as getting to GP 2013 and getting your registration keys, you do have to request that through SOCIUS. So if anyone does want to transition, just let your account manager know, and we can request those keys. Okay. The next piece is, this is kind of a sticky situation. So one of the things we're going to need to figure out for everybody is if you had deactivated any modules within the last 3 years, one thing that Microsoft is doing is you have to, in essence, purchase that amount back onto your protected list price. So let's say that you deactivated like 10 users and the amount was $10,000 for those users. When you go to transition to GP 2013, you either have to purchase back those users or purchase back the same dollar amount under functionality or users to get your system list price back to that same amount. So that's something that we'll have to find out for you when you decide to transition. We just need to make sure if you deactivated anything that we get you back to that highest protected list price that you were at initially. And the last, every customer, I think Jeff had said this before, every customer is going to receive the starter pack. And then customers that were on module-based licensing or business-ready licensing, you will receive the extended pack. So if you had one module that is included in the extended pack, you receive everything in the whole pack. In most cases, the majority of your protected list price is going to transfer over with the starter pack for you. This is just kind of another picture of how things are going to move over. So if you are on module-based licensing and you're on the standard edition right now, you will receive the starter pack and the extended pack. And that's the same for anyone who's on module-based licensing under the professional edition, and also if you were on business-ready licensing, the advanced management edition. The people that are on business essentials, they're only going to receive the starter pack. So if you're on business essentials and you do want some of the functionality in the extended pack, you will need to purchase the extended pack. And one thing we might want to look at too, if you do decide you're going to be adding, that you want to add something in that pack, or if you think you might want to add users, you might want to do that before you transition, because in many cases it might be cheaper to do that on the current model that you're on than when you actually do it after you go to GP 2013. So we can look at that with everybody and help make a determination on that. The other piece on here, anyone who currently has any of the advanced HR pieces or PTO manager or payroll, the benefit self-service suite, they will automatically get the extended HR and payroll pack. And people who have anything in the integration suite, meaning integration manager for financials, distribution, anything in the customization pack, they're going to receive that customization pack automatically. Even if you only have one piece, you get everything that is in that pack. The next slide, this just sort of shows you the one-to-one relationship as far as what you currently own and what you're going to get. So functionality will be the same. If you have full users, you will get a one-to-one match of full users that you have. And then light users and ESS users, those will all transition over to limited users for everyone. So we can let you know how many of those that you'll get once you do transition, because some of the light users, depending on what you had, may be a different ratio than a one-to-one. Okay. This slide goes through if someone wants to do a product line transition. So let's say a customer might have been on Dynamics SL and they decide that they want to go to Dynamics GP. You can currently do that. There was a time frame at one time you couldn't do that before December 1st of 2012. So that is okay to do now. before you could also transition, if you were on standard or professional, you could transition to the business ready licensing, and that is no longer available. You can only now transition to GP 2013. Once you do go to GP 2013, you can't downgrade to a prior version after the transition. And you also cannot add any users or additional modules to your registration keys once you transition to 2013 to your old licensing model. So you can still access those keys. So let's say you were on GP Professional, you can still have access to those keys. You just wouldn't be able to add any users or anything. You'd have to add those under GP 2013.
And that becomes important as you're transitioning, probably more than any other time.
And we want to go through just a couple examples. This one is for a customer who is on GP Professional. In this case, we're saying they have 12 system manager users. So those 12 system managers are going to move over or transition over to 12 full user licenses when you go to GP 2013. The GL, the payables, receivables, bank rec, fixed assets, sales order processing, all those pieces are going to now be included in the starter pack, so they'll all move over, but you're also going to receive all of the modules that were in the starter pack that Jeff had on his slide. This customer owns Integration Suite, so because they own that piece, they automatically get the customization pack and all the pieces that are in it. This customer also owns Management Reporter, Designer 2 users, and Management Reporter Viewer 8 users. Both of those are going to become unlimited users. And then this customer, because they are on Professional, they do get the extended pack and all the modules that are included in that. So at the bottom, their protected list price stays the same, and then it'll only change if they decide to add users or any other packs under GP 2013. And then this next example was just for Business Essentials, just because that's kind of one of the ones that doesn't get everything. So this customer has one system manager user. They're going to get 3 full users under GP 2013. And then they have GL, payables, receivables, bank rec. Those are all going to move them over to the starter pack, so they'll get all those 50-plus modules that were included in the starter pack. And again, Management Reporter, they have a designer user, so they'll get unlimited users under Management Reporter. So we just wanted to show a couple examples as far as what you may get. So if you do have questions about what you think you're going to transition to, please get with your account manager, and we can help you figure out what modules you will gain or what functionality you will gain. And with that, we'll see if there's any more questions. Dawn, is there anything out there right now?
Yeah, we have one question out here. Will the starter pack 3 full users give 3 additional users when somebody's upgrading from 2010 to 2013?
Yes. So if you had 1 system manager user, when you upgrade to 2013, you're going to get 3 users under GP 2013. But your version 10 or 2010 license keys are going to stay the same. You won't get additional users under those. Did I answer that?
Yeah. So basically, they'll get 2 additional users by going to 2013 because they already had 1.
Right. If you have 1, you'll get 2 additional by going to 2013.
Okay. And then we just had a question on if we are going to disperse the slide deck.
It will be available out on our website. So I think after the call, you'll get an email that tells you the link that you can go to on the website to have access to the slide deck.
Okay. Another question here. We had a customer who purchased 400 additional DCO user licenses. How is this affected under the new licensing?
The DCO users became, I think, what they call light users now. So in that scenario, I would say get with your account manager, and we can do to figure out what the ratios are for those, because that's one of the ones that it may be a different ratio than a 1-to-1. They may actually receive more.
Okay, great. One more came in here. It says, can we take online training on GP 2013 before they actually upgrade?
I've actually been out to look. There aren't very many classes out there right now for GP 2013. The last time I looked, I think there was only, and that was like a week and a half ago, there was only one class out on e-learning for 2013. So we've asked Microsoft to keep us up to date when those are going to be updated, and we will let you guys know as well. Right now there are not very many classes out there for GP 2013.
If there are specific issues or modules that you'd like to get a pre-upgrade peek at, though, I'm sure that our consulting team can help you out as well.
I have one more question here. The license count is limited to less than 3 licenses to get the starter pack 3 licenses. Had a question mark there.
Say that again.
The license count is limited to less than 3 licenses to get the starter pack 3 licenses. I think they're asking if the license count has to be limited to less than 3 licenses to get the actual starter pack of the additional licenses.
You really aren't getting, you're only getting additional licenses if you have 1 or 2 users. The starter pack includes 3. If you have a 10-user license of the product today, you'll get 10 licenses.
Yes, so you won't get 2 additional.
You only get additional licenses if you have a very small number. If you have 1 or 2, then you automatically get 3. But if you have 3 or more, there's no net change in your user count.
Great, that answers his question. And that is all the questions that I have in the queue for right now.
Okay?
Great.
You're welcome to reach out after the session as well, and certainly talk to your account manager or the consultant that you work with, and we'll make sure we get you as many answers as possible. We do have a number of clients that have moved to GP 2013 very successfully, and we think it's going to be a really, really great product. So, and keep your eyes open. There are going to be, Microsoft is really aggressively providing service packs and updates on 2013 as well.
Spectacular. Well, thank you. Yep. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks for everybody for attending. We'll see you next time.